My daughter stole my entire pension for a business trip. When I followed her and opened that fridge, the scream that came out of her mouth made my blood run cold. What we discovered inside wasn't just shocking, it saved her life. But the truth? It destroyed our family forever. Stay until the end because the twist will leave you speechless. Let's go. Subscribe to Tales with Aunt Clara for more unbelievable true stories. Hello dear friends. Welcome back to Tales with Aunt Clara. I'm Clara, and today I'm sharing a story that still makes my hands shake when I think about it. This isn't just about money, it's about trust, family, and a discovery so horrifying that it changed everything I thought I knew about my own daughter. My name is Margaret, and for 37 years, I worked as a nurse at St. Catherine's Hospital. 37 years of night shifts, double shifts, covering holidays while other families celebrated. Every paycheck, I put aside what I could. Not much, mind you, but enough. By the time I retired at 65, I had managed to save $43,000 in my pension fund. $43,000. It might not sound like much to some people, but to me, that was security. That was the difference between living with dignity in my old age and becoming a burden to my children. That was every sacrifice I'd ever made, counted and recounted in that little bank book I kept in my nightstand drawer. I had 2 children. My son, David, lived in Seattle with his wife and 2 kids. Good boy, called every Sunday like clockwork. Then there was my daughter, Nicole. 28 years old, beautiful, ambitious, always chasing the next big thing. She lived just 20 minutes away in a small apartment downtown. And unlike her brother, Nicole visited often. Too often, as it turned out. The trouble started on a Tuesday morning in March. I remember the date exactly, March 14th. I was in my kitchen, making my usual breakfast, oatmeal with honey and a cup of chamomile tea, when Nicole came bursting through my door. She had a key, of course. I'd given it to her years ago for emergencies. Mom, oh my God, Mom. She was breathless, her face flushed, eyes wide with what looked like panic. I nearly dropped my spoon. Nicole, what's wrong? Are you hurt? She grabbed my hands, squeezing them so hard it hurt. Mom, I need your help. It's an emergency. A real emergency. My heart was hammering. What happened? Are you sick? Did someone? No, nothing like that. She pulled me over to the kitchen table, practically pushing me into a chair. Mom, I have an incredible opportunity. A once-in-a-lifetime business opportunity, but I need capital. I need it fast. My panic slowly transformed into confusion. A business opportunity? Nicole, you scared me half to death. I thought something terrible had happened. This is terrible if I miss it. Her voice rose with intensity. Mom, listen to me. You know I've been working at that marketing startup, right? Well, the owner, Mr. Harrison, he's opening a new branch in Austin, Texas. He's looking for investors, people who can put in money and become partners. Mom, this is it. This is my chance to finally make something of myself, to not struggle paycheck to paycheck anymore. I studied my daughter's face. There was something manic in her expression, something desperate that made me uneasy. How much money are we talking about? $40,000. The number hit me like cold water. 40,000. Nicole, I know it's a lot, Mom. I know. But this is guaranteed. Guaranteed. Mr. Harrison has projections showing that investors will triple their money in the first year alone. Triple, Mom. That means you'd make your money back plus 80,000. More. We could split it. You could have enough to travel, to do all those things you always talked about. Remember how you wanted to see Paris? Paris. Yes, I'd always wanted to see Paris. But something about this felt wrong. Nicole, I don't understand. Why do you need the money so fast? Can't you take out a loan? Her face darkened. Banks take too long. The investment window closes in 3 days. 3 days, Mom. If I don't come up with the money by Friday, the opportunity goes to someone else. 3 days. I shook my head. That's not how legitimate businesses work, honey. That sounds like it's not a scam. She slammed her hand on the table, making me jump. Then immediately, her face softened. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Mom. I'm just stressed. This is real, I promise you. I have all the paperwork. I can show you everything. She pulled out a folder from her bag, spreading papers across my kitchen table. Investment projections. Company letterhead. Official-looking documents with signatures and seals. To my untrained eye, it all looked legitimate. But I was a nurse, not a business person. What did I know about investments? Nicole, this is my entire pension. Everything I have. I know, Mom. She took my hands again, gentler this time. Her eyes filled with tears. I know what I'm asking. And I swear to you on my life that I will protect this money like it's my own. Better than my own. You'll get every penny back plus profits. And if, God forbid, if something goes wrong, I'll work 3 jobs to pay you back. I'll sell everything I own. I won't let you down. I looked at my daughter's tearful face and felt my resistance crumbling. This was my baby girl. The same little girl who used to crawl into my lap after a nightmare, who'd made me Mother's Day cards with crayon drawings, who'd held my hand at her father's funeral. How could I not help her when she needed me? But that $43,000. It was all I had. Mom, please. Nicole's voice broke. I've never asked you for anything like this before. I've always stood on my own 2 feet. But this could change my entire life. Our lives. Please, Mom. Trust me. And God help me, I did. The next morning, Wednesday, March 15th, I went to the bank. My hands trembled as I filled out the withdrawal slip. The bank manager, Mrs. Peterson, called me into her office with a concerned expression. Mrs. Chun, this is a substantial withdrawal. I need to ask, is everything all right? You're not being pressured or scammed, are you? I bristled at the question. My daughter has a business investment opportunity. It's perfectly legitimate. Mrs. Peterson leaned forward. Mrs. Chun, I've been a bank manager for 20 years. When someone withdraws their entire savings for a time-sensitive investment opportunity, 9 times out of 10, it's a scam. Please let me have one of our financial advisors look at. That won't be necessary. My voice came out colder than I intended. This is my money, and this is my decision. She sighed. Of course, Mrs. Chun. I'll process the withdrawal. $43,000 in cash feels heavier than you'd think. They gave it to me in hundreds, wrapped in paper bands, stuffed into a bank envelope. Walking out to my car, I felt like everyone in the parking lot was watching me, like I had a target painted on my back. Nicole came over that evening to collect the money. She counted it twice, her hands moving with practiced efficiency. Then she threw her arms around me, sobbing into my shoulder. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I won't let you down. I promise I won't let you down. When do you leave for Austin? I asked. Tomorrow afternoon. I'll be gone for about 10 days, maybe 2 weeks. I need to meet with Mr. Harrison, sign all the paperwork, tour the new office space. Oh, Mom, I'm so excited. This is really happening. She left with my entire life savings in her oversized purse, and I stood in my doorway watching her car disappear down the street. In my gut, a cold dread settled like a stone, but I pushed it away. She was my daughter. She wouldn't betray me. Would she? The first 3 days were fine. Nicole texted me photos from the airport, from her hotel in Austin, from meetings with Mr. Harrison, who never quite appeared in any of the pictures. She sent me screenshots of documents and excited messages about how well everything was going. But on the 4th day, the messages stopped. I tried calling. Straight to voicemail. I texted. No response. By the 5th day, I was pacing my house, wearing a path in the carpet, my phone clutched in my hand like a lifeline. Had something happened to her? Was she hurt? In the hospital? Or worse, had she taken my money and run? No, I couldn't think like that. Nicole wouldn't do that to me. She wouldn't. On the 6th day, I called David in Seattle. Have you heard from your sister, Nicole? He sounded distracted. I could hear my grandkids shouting in the background. No, why? Is something wrong? I didn't want to worry him. Didn't want to admit what I'd done. No, nothing. She's in Austin for business. I just wanted to check in. Austin. David's voice sharpened. What business? Mom, Nicole doesn't have Austin business. She works at a local marketing firm here in the state. My blood ran cold. What do you mean? She said her boss, Mr. Harrison. Her boss's name is Janet Rodriguez, Mom. There's no Mr. Harrison. And the company has one office. Just one. It's a 5-person startup. The phone nearly slipped from my shaking hands. David, I need to go. Mom, what's going on? I hung up. I couldn't breathe. The room spun around me. I stumbled to the couch and sat down hard, my head in my hands. She'd lied. My daughter had lied to me. About everything. But why? Where was she? And more importantly, where was my money? I tried calling her again. Again and again and again. Always voicemail. On the 7th day, desperate and terrified, I did something I'm not proud of. I used the app David had installed on my phone last Christmas. The one that let family members share their locations for safety. Nicole's location popped up on the map. She wasn't in Austin, Texas. She was 25 minutes away, in a neighborhood called Riverside, one of the roughest parts of our city. My hands shook so badly I could barely drive. But fury and fear pushed me forward. I followed that little blue dot on my phone's map through streets that got progressively worse. Boarded up windows, graffiti, people standing on corners who watched my car pass with hostile eyes. The dot finally stopped at a rundown apartment complex. The paint was peeling, revealing gray wood underneath. Trash overflowed from a dumpster in the parking lot. Several windows were covered with cardboard or sheets instead of curtains. Nicole's car was parked in front of Building C. I sat in my car for 10 minutes, trying to steady my breathing, trying to prepare myself for whatever I was about to find. Then I got out, locked my doors 3 times, and walked toward the building entrance. The front door was broken, hanging crooked on its hinges. Inside, the hallway smelled like cigarettes, mildew, and something I couldn't identify, but made my nose wrinkle. Nicole's location put her on the 3rd floor, apartment 3F. I climbed the stairs slowly. Each step felt like walking toward my own execution. What was I going to find? Drugs. Was my daughter an addict? Had she taken my money to feed some addiction I'd been too blind to see? Apartment 3F had a faded wreath on the door, bizarrely cheerful in this dismal place. I raised my hand to knock, then stopped. I pressed my ear against the door instead. Voices. Multiple voices. Nicole's voice. I'd know it anywhere, and at least 2 others. Male voices. Not enough, one of the men was saying. The boss wants 50. You said you'd have 50. I have 43. Nicole's voice was high, panicked. That's what I could get. My mother didn't have more. Your mother? The man laughed, a cruel sound. Oh, that's rich. You stole from your own mother? Classy, Nicole. Real classy. I didn't steal. She gave it to me. She invested. Save it. We don't care about your family drama. You owe 50,000. You're 7,000 short. That's a problem. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might explode. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands, ready to call 911, when I heard something that made my blood freeze. Please, Nicole sobbed. Please, just give me more time. I can get the rest. I swear I can get it. Just don't. Please don't hurt Mia. She's only 5 years old. She doesn't understand what's happening. Please. Mia. Who was Mia? Should have thought about that before you got mixed up with the wrong people, the second man said. You knew what you were getting into. You knew the price. I was desperate. Nicole screamed. My baby was dying. The doctors said she needed experimental treatment that insurance wouldn't cover. $200,000. What was I supposed to do? Let my daughter die? The world tilted. I grabbed the wall to steady myself. Daughter? Nicole had a daughter? That was impossible. I would have known. I would have. That's not our problem, the first man said. You borrowed 50 grand from us at 20% interest 6 months ago. That debt is now 60,000. We want our money. All of it. You've got 1 week, or we're taking the kid as collateral. I didn't think. I didn't plan. I slammed my hand against that door and screamed. Police! Open this door right now, or I'm breaking it down. The voices inside went silent. Then chaos, running footsteps, crashes, shouting. The door flew open and 2 men in leather jackets pushed past me. nearly knocking me down as they ran for the stairs. I stumbled into the apartment and stopped, my hand flying to my mouth. The apartment was tiny, just one room with a kitchenette, a bathroom, and a mattress on the floor. But that's not what made me gasp. On that mattress sat a little girl. She had Nicole's eyes and dark curly hair. Her skin had a grayish pallor that I recognized from my nursing days. The look of someone very, very sick. She was hooked up to an 4-pole, the bag half empty, and she was clutching a stuffed bunny to her chest. Nicole was on her knees beside the mattress, and when she saw me, her face crumbled completely. "Mom," she whispered. I walked forward on numb legs. Who is this?" Nicole's tears fell silently. "This is Mia. Mom, this is your granddaughter." I couldn't speak. Couldn't think. I just stared at that little girl, my granddaughter, who watched me with wide, frightened eyes. "Hi," Mia said in a small voice. "Are you the police?" "No, baby," Nicole choked out. This is your grandmother." I finally found my voice. "Explain. Now." Nicole nodded, wiping her eyes. "Mia, sweetie, can you watch your movie for a minute?" She handed the girl a tablet with shaking hands, then turned back to me. "Can we talk in the bathroom? I don't want her to hear." The bathroom was barely big enough for both of us. Nicole closed the door and immediately collapsed against it, sliding down until she was sitting on the floor. I remained standing, my arms crossed, waiting. "I got pregnant when I was 23, Nicole began, her voice barely above a whisper. "It was a guy I'd been seeing for a few months, Marcus. When I told him I was pregnant, he disappeared. Changed his number, moved away, ghosted me completely. I was terrified. I didn't know what to do." "You could have told me," I said coldly. "Could I?" She looked up at me with red-rimmed eyes. "Mom, think about it. You're a good Catholic woman. You spent my entire childhood telling me about the importance of marriage, family, doing things the right way. I knew what you'd say. I knew you'd be disappointed. So you decided to hide your pregnancy? For 9 months? How is that even possible?" "It's not hard when you avoid your family," Nicole said bitterly. "I told you I was busy with work. I wore baggy clothes when I did see you. I had Mia in July, right after my 24th birthday. I told everyone at work it was a medical leave for a procedure. After she was born, I placed her with a foster family temporarily, while I figured things out." My chest tightened. "You put your baby in foster care?" "I was planning to get her back." Nicole's voice rose, defensive. "I just needed time to get my finances in order, to find a better apartment, to be ready. I visited her every week. Every single week, Mom. And then..." She stopped, her face crumpling again. When she continued, her voice was hollow. "When Mia was 3 years old, the foster family called me. She'd been sick for weeks, fevers, exhaustion, bruising easily. They took her to the doctor and ran tests. The diagnosis was acute lymphoblastic leukemia, childhood blood cancer. I felt the air leave my lungs. As a nurse, I knew exactly what that meant. I knew the treatments, the prognosis, the astronomical costs. Insurance covered some of it," Nicole continued. "But not everything. Not the experimental immunotherapy that doctors said was her best chance. Not the specialized care. Not the medications that cost thousands of dollars per dose. I was drowning in medical debt. I took out credit cards, loans, borrowed from everyone I could. I worked 3 jobs. But it wasn't enough. It was never enough." "So you turned to loan sharks," I said quietly. She nodded, shame written across her face. 6 months ago, Mia's condition got worse. The doctors said without the new treatment, she had maybe a year left. Maybe less. I was desperate, Mom. I found these guys through someone at work who knew someone who knew someone. They said they could loan me $50,000 immediately. No credit check, no questions asked. I knew it was dangerous. I knew the interest rates were insane. But what choice did I have? Let my daughter die? And the Austin story? The business investment? Nicole laughed bitterly. I needed more money. The loan was due, plus interest, and I still had medical bills piling up. I thought maybe if I could just get enough to pay them off, I could stop this nightmare. I could finally bring you to meet Mia the right way, Not like this. I'm so sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry. I looked at my daughter, really looked at her, and saw what I'd been too blind to notice before. The dark circles under her eyes. The weight loss. The way her hands never stopped shaking. This wasn't just stress. This was trauma. This was a woman breaking under impossible pressure. Take me to see her, I said. We went back into the main room. Mia had fallen asleep, the tablet playing a cartoon on her chest. Up close, I could see the medical paraphernalia more clearly. Medications lined up on a folding table, syringes still in their packaging, appointment cards from 3 different hospitals scattered around. I knelt beside the mattress and gently moved the tablet aside. Mia stirred her eyes opening halfway. Hi, sweetie, I said softly. I'm Grandma Margaret. I'm very happy to meet you. A small smile touched her lips. Grandma, she murmured, then drifted back to sleep. I felt something crack open in my chest, a flood of love so intense it hurt. This was my granddaughter. My blood. And she was sick. She was in danger. And I hadn't known. I hadn't been there. I stood up, my decision made. Pack everything. Both of you are coming home with me. Tonight. Nicole's eyes widened. Mom, I can't. You can and you will, I said firmly. This place isn't safe. Those men know where you are. You and Mia are coming to my house, where I can keep you both safe while we figure this out. But the loan. We'll deal with the loan. I pulled out my phone. First, I'm calling David. Your brother deserves to know he has a niece. Then we're calling the police about those men. Then. I took a deep breath. Then we're going to the hospital to talk to Mia's doctors ourselves. I'm a nurse, Nicole. I know the healthcare system. There are programs, grants, foundations that help families with pediatric cancer. We'll find a way that doesn't involve criminals. Nicole was crying again, but this time there was something like hope in her eyes. You're not angry? I cupped her face in my hands. Oh, I'm furious. I'm hurt. I'm devastated that you felt you couldn't come to me. But you're my daughter, and that little girl is my granddaughter. We're family. And family doesn't abandon each other, no matter what. We packed everything in 20 minutes. Mia woke up confused, and Nicole explained that we were going on an adventure to Grandma's house. The little girl's face lit up with excitement despite her exhaustion. As we drove away from that horrible apartment building, Mia fell asleep in the back seat, her head on Nicole's lap. In the rearview mirror, I watched Nicole stroke her daughter's hair, her lips moving in what looked like a prayer. My phone buzzed. A text from David. Just got your message. On the first flight out tomorrow morning. We're coming. Hantay. The next few days were a blur. David arrived with his wife, Anna, and we told them everything. The shock on their faces mirrored what I'd felt, but they rallied quickly. Anna, who worked in social work, immediately started researching financial assistance programs for childhood cancer patients. We took Mia to Children's Hospital for a full evaluation. Her oncologist, Dr. Sarah Patel, was a sharp-eyed woman in her 40s who reviewed Mia's entire medical history with a thoroughness that impressed me. The good news, Dr. Patel said, is that Mia is responding to treatment. The experimental immunotherapy has shown promising results. The bad news is that she needs to continue treatment for at least another year, possibly longer. What about the cost? I asked. Dr. Patel smiled. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. There's a foundation specifically for pediatric cancer patients whose families are facing financial hardship. It's funded by several major corporations and private donors. Based on Mia's case and your financial situation, I believe she would qualify for full coverage of her experimental treatment. Nicole gasped. Full coverage? That's not possible. We've applied to everything. You applied as a single mother with no family support system, Dr. Patel interrupted gently. The application is different when there's a multi-generational family involvement and a demonstrated need. Let me connect you with our financial counselor. By the end of the day, we had paperwork in motion. It would take a few weeks to process, but the counselor was confident Mia would be approved. In the meantime, the hospital agreed to continue her treatment on a payment plan we could manage as a family. But there was still the matter of the loan sharks. I reported them to the police, But the officer who took my statement was pessimistic. These guys operate in cash, no paper trail. Without more evidence, there's not much we can do. My advice? Pay what you owe and never contact them again. Nicole had already spent most of the $43,000 on Mia's medical bills, medications, and paying down some of her debt. She had about $8,000 left. We were short $52,000. The deadline was approaching. Nicole became more anxious each day, jumping at every sound, checking the windows compulsively. I'd wake up in the middle of the night to find her pacing the hallway. "They're going to come," she whispered one night when I found her at 3 a.m. staring out the living room window. "They're going to come for Mia. Or for me. Or both of us." "No one is taking anyone," I said firmly. But inside I was scared too. Then on a cold Thursday morning, David called me with an idea. "Mom, I've been thinking. You still have your house. If you took out a home equity line of credit." "Absolutely not." I cut him off. "I won't risk losing my home." "Then what?" David sounded frustrated. "We can't let these criminals hurt Nicole or Mia." I know. Let me think." I spent that morning going through my finances again and again, looking for something I'd missed. There was nothing. I'd already spent my pension money. My monthly Social Security check barely covered my basic expenses. I had no assets except my house and my car. Mia was playing in the living room, building towers with blocks while Nicole watched her with haunted eyes. The little girl's laughter was like sunshine, so innocent, so unaware of the danger surrounding her. I couldn't let anything happen to her. I wouldn't. That's when I remembered the fridge in the garage. It was an old thing, a spare refrigerator that had belonged to my husband before he died. I'd kept meaning to get rid of it but never got around to it. Mostly it just held extra groceries, some frozen meals I'd batch cooked, and odds and ends. But there was one thing in that fridge I'd forgotten about. Something I'd hidden away years ago and never touched. I went to the garage, Nicole following me curiously. "Mom, what are you doing?" "Something I should have done a long time ago," I said. The fridge hummed when I opened it. I pushed aside frozen vegetables and old ice cream containers until I found what I was looking for. A metal lockbox, frost-covered, hidden behind bags of frozen peas. Nicole frowned. "What is that?" I carried the box inside and set it on the kitchen table. My hands trembled as I dug out the key from my jewelry box upstairs. When I came back down, Nicole was staring at the lockbox like it might explode. "Mom, seriously, what's in there?" I unlocked it. Inside were stacks of bills, neatly wrapped and preserved. Not modern bills. These were old, some of them very old. And beneath the bills were coins in protective cases, stamps and albums, and a few pieces of jewelry I'd inherited from my grandmother. Nicole's eyes widened. "Mom, what is all this?" "Your father was a collector," I said quietly. "He bought these things over 30 years of marriage. Old currency, rare coins, stamps. He always said they'd be worth something someday. After he died, I couldn't bear to look at them, so I locked them away and forgot about them." I pulled out one of the coin cases. Inside was a 1909 SVDB penny, one of my husband's prized possessions. He used to tell me this coin alone was worth thousands of dollars. I thought he was exaggerating. Nicole picked up one of the bills, a crisp, $100 bill from 1934. "Mom, we need to get these." Appraised. We took everything to a numismatic dealer that afternoon. The man behind the counter, Mr. Henderson, put on white gloves before handling anything. He examined each item with a jeweler's loupe, consulting reference books and making notes. When he finished, he looked up at us with an expression I couldn't read. "Mrs. Chun, do you know what you have here?" My heart sank. "It's worthless, isn't it?" "Worthless." He laughed. "Ma'am, I can offer you $65,000 for this collection right now. Cash. And honestly, if you took the time to auction some of these pieces individually, you might get even more." The room spun. Nicole grabbed my arm to steady me. "Did you say 65,000? The 1909 SVDB penny alone is worth 8,000 in this condition. You have 5 Barber half-dollars from the 1890s, several buffalo nickels, a near-complete set of wheat pennies, and these silver certificates." He shook his head in amazement. "Your husband had excellent taste. This is a remarkable collection." I looked at Nicole, and we both started laughing. A slightly hysterical, disbelieving sound. After everything, after all the fear and desperation. The answer had been sitting in my garage all along. We took Mr. Henderson's offer. He wrote us a check right there, which we immediately deposited and transferred to cash. That afternoon, with David as backup and Anna waiting in the car ready to call 911 if needed, Nicole and I met with the loan sharks at a public park. They showed up in the same leather jackets, sneering and confident. "Didn't think you'd actually have our money," the taller one said. Nicole pulled out an envelope and counted out $60,000 in cash. The $50,000 principal plus the interest they claimed she owed. "We're done. This is paid in full. You leave us alone. Forever." The shorter one flipped through the bills, then nodded. "Pleasure doing business with you. Though I gotta say, we're gonna miss that pretty face of yours." "Go to hell," Nicole said coldly. They laughed and walked away. We stood there for several minutes after they left, just breathing, letting the reality sink in. It was over. We were safe. 3 months later, life had found a new rhythm. Mia's foundation funding came through, just as Dr. Patel had promised. Her treatment was fully covered, and the latest scans showed the cancer was in remission. She'd gained weight, her skin had better color, and most importantly, she laughed. Oh, how that little girl laughed. Nicole had moved in with me permanently. We'd converted my craft room into a bedroom for Mia, painting it pink at her request and filling it with stuffed animals. Nicole took the guest room. At first, she'd insisted it was temporary, just until she got back on her feet, but I wouldn't hear of it. "This is your home," I told her. "This has always been your home." We fell into a routine. I'd take Mia to her hospital appointments, using all my nursing knowledge to understand the medical jargon and advocate for her care. Nicole went back to her marketing job, though she was looking for something more stable with better benefits. David and Anna visited every few weeks, and my grandkids from Seattle adored their new cousin. But there were still hard conversations to be had. One evening, after Mia had gone to bed, Nicole and I sat on the porch with cups of tea. It was May now, the weather finally warming up, flowers blooming in the garden. "I'm still angry, you know," I said quietly. Nicole nodded. "I know. You lied to me for 5 years. 5 years, Nicole. You let me believe I had one granddaughter when I had 2. You went through hell alone when you had family who would have helped. You stole from me." "I didn't steal," Nicole interrupted. "You gave me that money. Under false pretenses." My voice hardened. "That's stealing, Nicole. Let's not sugarcoat it." She was quiet for a long moment. "You're right. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Mom." "Why?" I turned to look at her. "That's what I don't understand. Why didn't you trust me? Did I do something to make you think I wouldn't support you?" Nicole's eyes filled with tears. "You were always so perfect, Mom. Everything by the book. Church every Sunday. Marriage before children. The right way to do everything. I was terrified of disappointing you. Perfect." I laughed bitterly. "Nicole, I got pregnant with you 3 months before your father and I got married. Did you know that?" Her mouth fell open. "What?" "Your father and I loved each other, but we were young and careless. When I found out I was pregnant, I was terrified too. I thought my parents would disown me. But you know what? They didn't. They helped us. They threw us a quick wedding and never breathed a word of judgment. And that taught me something. Family is about love and support, not about being perfect." "I didn't know," Nicole whispered. "Because I never told you. Maybe that's my fault. Maybe I set the bar too high, made you think I'd never understand making mistakes. But Nicole, everyone makes mistakes. What matters is how we handle them. And running away, lying, suffering alone. That's not handling it. That's just making everything worse." We sat in silence, the sounds of spring evening around us, crickets chirping, a dog barking in the distance, wind chimes tinkling from the neighbor's porch. "I want to do better," Nicole finally said. "I want Mia to grow up knowing she can always come to me, no matter what. That she doesn't have to hide or be perfect." "Then show her,"